None of us really know. None of us really know.
I know.
No, I know. Perfect timing, Keith.
Keith, what's up?
Your favorite movie of all time, F9.
Oh, good.
How is there any other choice than Remember the Titans being number one?
I'm curious.
I'm spoiling mine, but
Well, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm not even
Brian.
done talking.
you shouldn't be talking at this point.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Apocaflix Movies and Apocaflix Now, our weekly hangout show here on the channel. As we are here talking movies every single week, and we have a big show tonight. Obviously, it is Thor: Love and Thunder week. Complete Chris Hemsworth chaos on the show tonight. As you can see by the title of this episode, we are not just discussing everything that is Thor: Love and Thunder, but we are also going to be ranking every single one of Chris Hemsworth's Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, which is very easy because there's 4 Thors and 4 Avengers. 8 straight-up movies that he appeared in that we'll be getting to closer to the end of the show. As you can see, I have 2 of my fellow Apocaflixers here with me, but someone who is finally gracing us with his presence. He is back, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jacob Bartley, my buddy. How are you doing, man?
Our buddy.
I'm hosting my buddy.
Doing okay. I'm so glad to be back, to be honest. And I talking about movies is something I love doing. It comes naturally to me, and it's like I talk to so many casual movie fans, and sometimes I go above and beyond, and I talk about it more than they can handle sometimes. So it's glad to be back with you guys talking movies, because you guys are on my same level. Most stuff that we talk about, we all know what each other's talking about. So that's great. So yeah, I'm super glad to be back and be able to do these reviews and talk Thor: Love and Thunder, which was a movie I was very excited about and excited to talk about now. So yes, I do want to thank everybody, including you guys, including all the viewers, just for all the kind words and the love and support. I truly appreciate it. You guys helped me get through a tough time, and you're helping me get through a tough time still. So love it, and I'm ready to keep going and talk movies going forward in the future. Now, today, let's do it.
I'm just excited because now I have one more person to argue with. Like, I finally get to argue with Jacob Bartley again. Like, it's great. I'm looking forward to it.
Look, I think
it's 50-50. You finally get your balance slightly back a little bit.
Yeah. So I think the Love and Thunder conversation will go pretty well between us 3. What is probably not going to go well? Look, hey, Gio's not here. Let's just get at it. You wrote, I think it was on your Twitter post. You wrote, "This is going to be like a chaotic conversation," and I was like, if Gio was here, yeah, it would be. But I think the rankings are going to get interesting, though.
With Chris Hemsworth rankings, for sure.
I think, especially when it's going to get interesting. We'll talk about that though when it comes up.
Yeah, no, it's an exciting show, and I'm glad you're coming back to this one. Great topic to do it for. Brian, how about you, man? Your internet's a little poopy right now, but how you doing?
I know. What is the chance? Literally, and there's no reason for it to be poopy right now. Although, look, it keeps doing it. I have no idea.
How come we can never tell when our own internet is bad? Like,
it was fine until we started. The second Jake hit go, then it started being poopy. I don't know why. I'm doing good. I literally got out of my second watch of Thor 30 minutes ago.
Lucky. I need to see it again.
I got a membership at 24
Rachel.
Hour. Look at everyone. So happy Jake is back. Yay. No, so I have a membership downtown to 24. And so I was like, I'm going to go to the gym and then just walk to Cinemark and see Thor again right before this, so that way I can be refreshed to watch this.
Are you not wired in?
I am. That's what doesn't make sense.
I don't think I've ever seen Brian's
what?
internet go bad.
You know what it is, Brian? I think you need to buy a new Ethernet cable. The Ethernet cable might not be working. It might be a busted Ethernet cable.
It's so funny because to me, like, everything is perfect.
No.
I know everything to me is perfect, but I can tell because it's got the little like thing that keeps popping up.
The Wi-Fi bar? Yeah. You know what, Brian? I have an Ethernet cable here at the house. I'll give it to you this weekend because I'm going to see it this weekend. I'll bring it with me. Try it out. See if it works.
I don't know.
Is there something wrong with Brian's Ethernet cord? Like, have you seen it? Is it like busted up or something?
Well, so I actually replaced mine last year.
And it made a difference?
Yeah, so Sean Wingblade, who's been on the channel and went to the movies, he works for Xfinity, the Comcast company, and he told when I was asking questions, he told me that
right now, Jesus,
I can't hear a single word that you're saying, Brian.
Is it that bad?
It is.
It's pretty bad.
Maybe exit and come back in. I don't know.
Yeah, he told me that Ethernet cables can go bad after a while if they get twisted up.
Oh,
the wires, like they something random can just happen, and it can turn them a little bad after a while. So yeah,
I guess that makes sense. Like we assume they just last forever, but
I know, and it also depends on the quality of Ethernet cable I guess you buy because there are different price range. But yeah, Brian, I have one. I'll bring it to you. As Andy says, you are currently Robo Brian at the moment. So, oh, and he left. There we go. Okay, so look, we have Thor: Love and Thunder to talk about. We have Chris Hemsworth Marvel movies to talk about. But we like to do one little thing on this channel that we do every single week to start the show, and that is called the Movie Watching Challenge. If you saw last week, Mr. Gio Ramos was challenged by Keith Barnes to watch a film. And with our new fancy new wheel, which thanks to Brian, we're starting to do here on the challenge section of the show, he landed on New Jack City. And unfortunately, Gio's not here tonight. Otherwise, he would have a review. There will be a separate video coming out for that. But the challenge has gone elsewhere this week because we are now moving forward with a new review and a new movie. And it only seems fair that because he is officially back, that one Jacob Bartley gets challenged this week.
Damn. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I love watching new movies or movies that I haven't seen.
Well, and you have a very fun list to choose from. And full disclosure, I picked 4 movies for Gio. He wasn't able to respond in time, so I did end up picking 4 movies. Brian does have the wheel, so whenever he returns, which I don't know when he returns, we'll spin that wheel. But Jacob, how is your movie watchingness going over the last couple months? You been able to watch a lot of new stuff outside of the theater stuff, or no?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been for a minute there. I didn't watch anything, but then recently I've been going to a lot of stuff. I saw The Black Phone, which I really liked. I saw Lightyear, which was pretty good. I saw Minions, which was Minions: The Rise of Gru, which was better than I thought. It's like it might have been the shortest movie I've ever seen. It's an hour and 28 minutes, but it was better than I thought actually. So yeah, I've been trying to see as much as possible, but definitely been obviously binge watching TV shows too. You guys put me on Ted Lasso, both of you. So thank you for that. It's incredible, so uplifting.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you'll have a new movie to watch this week. Brian, if you can, let's bring that wheel up and let's see what Jacob will be officially watching this week.
So Brian thought of another new wrinkle.
Oh my God!
Which Jake didn't see that I messaged him in a text right before this, but here is. Oh wait. Here is said wrinkle. Now, Jacob, have you even seen our new system?
No, Jake told me about it the other day, and I was like, "That's interesting. I like that."
Nah. So, here is your wheel. If you can see it, can you guys even see it?
Yeah. So, Atomic Blonde, The Last of the Mohicans, Heat, and American Psycho are the 4 movies.
I was like, "What is the last of the M?" Like what?
Now,
well, obviously, it's too long to fit on there. So I have to watch like every episode of Apocaflix now if it lands on that.
No. Here's the wrinkle I just thought of. If it lands on Apocaflix now, you get to choose.
Interesting. I mean, I'm down for
Okay.
that.
What do you
sure,
think,
why
Jake?
not?
What do you think? What do you think?
Sure. Let's see how it goes.
We'll try it. Yeah, why not? We try it now and then.
All right, Brian. Are we spinning it? Let's spin it. Let's see what Jacob's watching.
Personally, I'm hoping you land on Atomic Blonde. But
Me too.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Can you guys even see it?
Is it gonna
Yes.
spin faster or something when you click it?
Yeah, watch.
Yeah, it's gonna spin. It's gonna spin
Okay.
faster. It should.
Okay. No, this is exciting. I like this. Okay, there we go.
Wait. Is it heat? Is it heat?
It's heat.
There we go. Hey, I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that.
Michael Mann's Heat.
Yeah, it kind of. I feel like Keith secretly chose that movie somehow. But hey, Heat. Obviously Al Pacino, Robert De Niro are in it. I've heard a lot about it. I heard like they're in it, but they don't interact until like one scene. But still, that's pretty exciting. So it's one of those movies that everybody knows, everybody talks about. So I'm excited to watch it.
Perfect. There you go. The last time I checked, because I got challenged to it, or maybe I just watched it randomly a couple months ago. It was on Prime Video. It was great. It was everything that it been led up to be. Specifically that downtown street gun scene is what everyone talks about. It's on a couple of the random streaming services, but it's for rent for $3. So
I don't mind either way. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I know whenever a villain and a hero like sit down face to face and talk, everybody always goes and says, "Oh, it's like the scene from Heat." Like that's what everybody says. So I don't know what that means, but I'm excited to find out.
Perfect. All right. Well, there it is. Jacob will be reviewing Heat. He'll be watching the action-packed movie that is from Michael Mann of the late '90s, and he'll be reviewing that next week. And then he'll get to challenge someone next week as this goes on and on. But let's just get into it, gentlemen. We have a big MCU movie to discuss tonight: Thor: Love and Thunder, the latest adventure in the Thor franchise, the first Thorquel, if you will. I don't know what it's quadrilogy. I guess. Well, it's called a quadrilogy, but what is it called? A quadricle? Is it called a quadrilogy?
No, I think there's actually
four movies together.
term.
But what's the fourth movie called? Is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like, I know it's called a quadrilogy, but like the third one's called a threequel. What's the fourth one called? You know what I mean?
Orquel? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Either way,
Orquel?
Thor: Love and Thunder. We are here. Chris Hemsworth is back. Tessa Thompson is back. We have Taika back as director and Korg. But then we have the additions of Christian Bale's Gore. We have
Natalie Portman's kind of back.
Foster. Back. Yeah, in a new way, if you will. Russell Crowe's Zeus. A lot of people in this movie. I want initial reactions before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty heaviness of this all. Jacob, I'll start with you. What is your initial out of the theater reaction, or right now, to Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we all saw it together. It's hard to talk about the movie right after, like to give it a definitive opinion. But you can still talk about things you liked and disliked. But I did say, if you remember, I said the ending saved the movie for me. Because, and I know there's no hiding. One problem that some people have with this movie is that there's a lot of that Taika Waititi comedy and like throughout the whole entire movie in almost every scene. And I think that's true, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But if that was an issue for you, and for me, like most of it worked, some of it didn't. But once you get to like the last 20 minutes of the film, to me, the last 20 minutes of the film are magical. Like they're absolutely 100% brilliant. Nothing wrong with it. And I mean, we're talking spoilers. I'll get into the specifics later on what I mean by that. But so it's a weird balance. Like, look, there's no secret. It's not better than Ragnarok. It doesn't have to be. I never expected it to be. But I think overall, it's a good movie. It's enjoyable. There's these new elements in the movie, like Christian Bale and Jane, Mighty Thor, that add so much to it, that make it so enjoyable that I don't even care. Like, okay, some of the jokes didn't work for me, so I enjoyed 80% of the movie. The other 20% that I didn't enjoy, cool, I can talk about that and tell you about it, but I still enjoyed most of it. So to me, it's a win.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's a very interesting thought for me because, like, for the most part, I enjoy everything that is MCU. I don't really hate any of the MCU movies, and I'm not saying I hate this. Don't worry, that's not where I'm getting at. But I think there's definitely things that I didn't like or maybe wasn't a fan of that have hindered my appreciation for the movie. And I don't know if it's necessarily, I mean, maybe the comedy has something to do with it. I think that I thought of this earlier today because I was trying to collect all of my thoughts as possible before the show. And the best comparison I have is how I felt when I watched Guardians 1 and Guardians 2. Like how amped up and crazy the second one is compared to the first one. Like with the first one, it's out there and weird and different. It has great comedy, but because it was such a massive hit, James Gunn was able to do whatever the hell he wanted with the second movie.
Yep.
And it's amped up. And this is exactly what happened from Ragnarok to Love and Thunder.
I agree. Yeah.
And I love Taika. And I love what he's able to do with film. I think he's a fantastic director. He's a fantastic storyteller. I do think the comedy was a little too much sometimes. I think it hurt my experience a little bit too much. Not to say that it wasn't funny, but that's because that's not what I wanted from the movie. But I also think that it's a combination of it being rushed and messy, in my opinion, that have kind of hurt me a little bit as far as watching the movie. It is a very short, really fast movie. Like, it gets to the point right away, whereas I think we could have spent a little bit more time with some of the story or characters that really would have helped the movie in the end. But that's just my opinion. Like, that's just
I agree with you 100%. They rushed through a bunch of things, and one thing specifically, but we can talk more about that.
Brian, just initial reactions. I mean, what was? I mean, you've seen it twice now, so you're literally coming out of the theater. What are you thinking of Thor: Love and Thunder?
If you can hear me from the great beyond,
Valhalla.
Yeah. Should I say my first reaction or both of them combined?
Just your reaction after the movie. Yeah, but combined. Yeah.
Combined, I enjoyed it a lot better the second time. I agree that the first time watching it, I was definitely like, holy moly, this is a lot of comedy, like funny, and like it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I'm one of the few people that thought the goats were hilarious every single time that they did their screen.
I'm kind of with you on that, to be honest.
I didn't hate the goats. That's not one thing that I was talking about. There's just some other stuff.
Oh, no, I know. But I've seen a lot of people be like, the goats were ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. I think it was...
They did it just enough. If they would have did it one more time, it would have been too much.
Probably.
Goats. But it was just enough, I thought.
But I liked it a lot better the second time. Ragnarok is still the best one, but this is definitely the second best one, in my opinion. And I really, really enjoy it, and I think that the harsh criticism that it's getting is unwarranted. I think we are in the Star Wars phase of the MCU where people just want to poop on everything.
Well, everyone is finding something to hate. Everyone is finding something to hate, whether it's I mean, we've seen it with Miss Marvel right now. We saw it with Moon Knight and even Obi-Wan at certain times, Doctor Strange. Now we're seeing it with Thor. Mm-hmm. It's because people, it's such a stupid debate, in my opinion, but the whole, where is this phase going? Like,
who cares?
We aren't even close, not even close to the end of it. Like, let them tell a flipping story.
So I think it's actually more, this is the first phase where they are basically giving the director the opportunity to do whatever they want. Think about it.
I agree with that. Yeah,
when
every time.
Every single one of these projects, including the TV shows, have gotten basically, he's like been like, here's the story, do what you want. Because Moon Knight's story was told by just Egyptian mythology, people that love that type of stuff. Miss Marvel was coming off Pakistani. Sam Raimi did his version of it. Chloe Zhao did her own take on things. This was absolutely full blown Taika. I think it's not following the MCU. Like, here's the story. Like, people are now getting to do whatever they want a little bit more, and I think people are like, now that it's changing from the norm, people are like, no, we don't like it.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate conversation, but that's not why we're here. So
I also don't think that all the like in phase 1, right? All movies were clearly leading to the first Avengers movie, right? I think there's different. While before there was one main story, now there's like 4 main stories, and they're all going on different paths. Like maybe the Thor and the Guardians movies are leading one way, and then the Doctor Strange and the Loki stuff is moving in the other direction. So I think they're just telling more stories.
Absolutely.
For sure.
You're going to be, in a couple of years, you're going to have different teams.
Yeah, I think so. Well, when you're putting out so much content, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, where do we want to start? There's obviously a lot of stuff to talk about. Does anybody want to bring up one specific thing that we can kind of focus on to start?
I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
I spent the whole entire weekend. This is why I'm getting so frustrated with my internet, because I literally spent the whole entire weekend dedicated to this movie. I spent the whole entire weekend reading the Gore the God Butcher comics and the Mighty Thor comics. So, like, everything is fresh in my head. I forgot how, like, it is so drastically different than the comics. And mind you, it is telling 2 of Thor's most recent greatest comic arcs in one. Gore the God Butcher and the Mighty Thor are completely different comics arcs. And
is the Gore story recent?
Yeah,
or they told a recent Gore story.
He's a recent villain.
He's 2014, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that. That's cool.
And the Mighty Thor.
I know Mighty Thor's. I actually have the first issue of Mighty Thor. I know that's recent.
Yeah. So I will say this: for what they took from inspiration of these 2 separate, complete things, I think it made a really good story. I really enjoyed, like, how the story was told throughout this whole entire thing, which takes me into Gore in general. He is, I don't know if I want to say the best part of the movie, because I think Mighty Thor might be, but he is one of my favorite MCU villains coming out of this.
I see a lot of people saying that. You're not alone.
Christian Bale, masterclass of.
I mean, are we surprised?
No.
It's Christian Bale. Like, are we surprised?
But I mean, like, everyone was freaking out. Oh, he doesn't look like the comic book character. Who cares? First off. Second, I literally watched a thing where Taika was like, "You guys realize if we would have made him look similar to the comics, he would have been Voldemort with head tails," which I didn't even, like, put 2 and 2 together. But, like, after reading it, I was like, oh yeah, that's literally Voldemort with head tails. And so, just in general, I think Christian Bale's Gore was changed and done fantastically in this movie.
I 100% agree. I just wish we had more time with him.
Yes.
That is my only complaint. It felt like he was barely even there.
My biggest complaint is the lack of killing gods on screen. I needed to see him murk some people.
Well, we all thought he was going to show up to the Zeus scene and slaughter gods, but it didn't happen. But that's our fault.
Hey, though, I've been saying it for a while, and one of my things came true, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Gore, I think Gore, his story, great. Performance, great. Look, great. I honestly do not care at all that he doesn't look like the comic version. He's
It
similar
should
enough.
not matter. It should, and also the way that I didn't mean to cut you off, but like the way that the Necro Sword changed him was what was cool.
Well,
it wasn't just his form. He then turned in more like a demon as the
well, they
as the
look
movie
more
went on.
human with like the little I don't know what they are, but they're like birthmarks like on their face and stuff. So he looks more like a human, and then the Necro Sword is basically infecting him basically.
His teeth, everything. It was great.
And to me, I've seen pictures of the comic book version, but I don't really know much. But if he did look like Voldemort with head tails, then good that they
He
changed
literally
him.
looks like Voldemort with Twi'lek head tails. That's
like an adaptation of a character can be an improvement, and I think the look is an improvement. So there's nothing wrong with that. I do think lack of screen time for Gore is an issue, and lack of showing us how big of a threat he is instead of talking about it.
Agreed.
Show us how big of a threat he is. And I think it's more to what you said, Jake, that I feel like they're like, look, we've been making these 2.5 hour movies, these 2 hour 40 movies. The Batman was just 3 hours. I feel like they were like, let's make a super fast paced short movie. And it's like, and they did it with when sacrificing story.
Well, they did the same thing with Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. Oh, I 100%.
That was
agree.
2 hours.
So I think
that movie was 2 hours.
No, you know what? This is a longer discussion, but I think it's coming from the top.
I don't know
from
the
top to make
someone
the
brought
movie
it up in
shorter.
the chat. Yeah, someone brought it up in the chat. I don't know who it was, but they said something about the movies in Phase 2 being shorter, and I want to make sure that it was credited for whoever said it. But I think it might have been.
And I don't even think it's Kevin Feige's decision. I think it's higher than that. I think they're telling them make the movie shorter. One, because people have freaking low attention spans, and people can't sit in a 3 hour movie and enjoy it. And I don't mean everybody, just some people. But also, technically, you get more show times, more box office, in a way.
Right here, I think, this is what Andy said. He goes, I think a lot of the rush feeling comes from the runtime. It feels like both this and Multiverse were cut down after people complaining about Eternals, which that was a big complaint coming out of that movie.
But
that movie was too long.
I didn't even feel like Eternals was too long. Like I have issues with Eternals, but the length wasn't the problem for me, honestly. But my biggest complaint about, other than Gore, on the
you're right, Sean. You're right.
On the time thing is them skipping over Mighty Jane gaining the powers of Thor.
Yes,
like you show us it's in a glass case and it starts lightning around it, and then it skips to she shows up to fight. Okay, cool. But here's the problem: they already showed us that scene in the trailer where she shows up, so it wasn't a surprise. We knew she was going to show up. If we had no idea that Natalie Portman was going to be Mighty Thor and they did it like that, that'd be cool. But we already knew. So it wasn't, why not visually show us her becoming Mighty Thor? And like they skipped over, like how much time did her and Valkyrie spend like getting to know each other and becoming friends before Thor and Gore come to New Asgard? Like it's a mess.
I agree.
In a way.
There were a lot of moments in the movie. I know we're talking about Gore, and just quickly on Gore, I thought Gore was a fantastic choice for this specific Thor story, like what it meant, like where he's currently at in his life, where he's lost his brother, his mother, his father, his world,
his friends,
and now it's a story about saving the future, right? The children, and that's what kind of Gore is going after. Obviously, the world too, because Gore is going for something that can wipe out all gods. But I thought he was a great choice for this villain. And you're right, Brian. Christian Bale played him to perfection. He did everything he needed to do to make sure that he was not just menacing at times, but also, I think Rachel said it, like extremely likable for a villain, which is weird to say.
In most scenes, I mean, when he's like scaring the kids, though.
Yeah, you're right.
Things head on.
No, you're right. Like that moment, but it's almost like a playful vibe from him. Like he was kind of like doing this like dark father thing, was really weird. But yeah, like him not having enough time, and then the movie overall, like it could have easily been like 2:15, and it would have not felt long at all. And we get 15 more minutes of footage with either Jane Valkyrie or Gore, the three people that I think, or excuse me, not Mighty Thor or Jane, because she got a ton of screen time, but Valkyrie and Gore to me did not have as much screen time as they should have. I felt like Valkyrie was essentially just thrown in there to be along for the party.
Yeah.
Like she had screen time, but she was just there for along for the ride, and she never really felt like she was a part of it. And that is such a big bummer because I think she is one of the most important things going in the MCU right now. Her character is so important to so many different things, and it felt like she was on the back burner a lot of the time, and it's because of the runtime. Because the story is a romantic comedy about Thor and Jane rekindling their feelings and going through this thing where they are both Thors while dealing with a universal villain.
They kind of like literally stabbed her to sideline her.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I just it's a bummer. It's a really, really big bummer. And I hope that she's along for the ride for a very long time. I know that I think Brian and I maybe whispered to each other in the middle of the movie or maybe afterwards that obviously it feels like Valkyrie and Captain Marvel's gonna be a thing. Like it just feels that way. We're hoping, we're crossing fingers that's at some point that happens, like and catapults her into a bigger role. But the movie 100% did feel rushed. And because it felt rushed, it felt messy, in my opinion. Like it jumped from scenes to scenes to scenes where like there was no cohesive transitions between stuff, and it all felt extremely fast. Like they were at Zeus's hideout in like the 40-minute mark of the movie.
Oh, Omnipotent City.
Yeah, like they shouldn't have been there until like well past the hour.
Yeah, you know what also contributes to that is like they can literally teleport anywhere they want, like right away.
True.
So it's also like you can go from Earth to there to the what was it called, the Shadow Realm or whatever. But like I'm not saying that's it's not a good excuse, but it just kind of feels that way because they can just go anywhere they want. Yeah,
I agree.
But they jump around so much. Like, how many different locations do they go to in a small amount of time? Like, a ton.
I just needed to see him murking some more gods. Like, just for the pure sake of making him seem more devious than he is. Like, just like, and threatening. Like, it's funny because in the comics, they kind of do the same thing where it's like, you just see that he killed, like, it's like, oh, those gods are dead. Those gods are dead. Those gods are dead. Like, you don't actually, he's not like ever like being like, all right, here's a comic of him like, I'm going to go and kill this person. So it's kind of the same thing. But I think when you're doing it like this, you want to see like him like that. When he murked that first god, I was like, oh, like that was a solid kill. And I love that they bleed gold. I think that's kind of cool. But I would have loved to see him like take out one more person or something.
I heard that. Obviously they cut a bunch of stuff from this movie, but I heard that he was supposed to kill Grandmaster, and it was cut.
Is Grandmaster a god?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming so.
No, because then that would mean that the Collector is a god because they're brothers.
Yeah. But still, he's a powerful being. He's not just like a regular like human.
I mean, they cut out him, Lena Headey.
Whoever do we know who she was going to play? I bet
she 100% had to play some version of a god.
I bet you she was a god who gets killed.
She was Hera.
They cut it.
Zeus's wife, Hera. So they knocked this thing down. I would have been fine with at least another 20 minutes.
100%, because that's what we're used to.
Yeah.
I understand like the argument for a shorter film, but we're with the Marvel Cinematic Universe outside of the Avengers movies, we're still used to longer movies. Like the Captain America movies, Iron Man 3, Guardians,
like,
they're all
depends
longer.
On the movie, right? Like think about this. Ant-Man is an hour and 58 minutes. Perfect runtime for that movie, right? And it doesn't feel rushed. But this movie needed.
We're dealing with gods. So. It should be 2:15 or so.
It depends on the movie. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It like I still very much enjoyed the movie. I was just bummed to walk out like knowing that there could have been so much more. with Valkyrie, or Jacob, you're right, with Jane. And like,
Yeah.
we pick up with her. We see her for 2 scenes when she has cancer. She's getting treatment and she's sleeping around her lab where she's struggling. And the next scene we see her, she's already Mighty Thor. The third scene that we see her, she is officially Thor. Like that is rushed
like
to the
she's
T.
at least been Thor for like 2 weeks or something. Like that's what it seems like. And her and Valkyrie already like have an established relationship. And I love that scene where she goes and gets Jane and they're like playing the music on the speaker and they're like dancing to it. Love that. But I would have loved it, like to see more of it. Like, we never got to see their first interaction together. Like, how did they meet?
Agreed.
What? Like nothing. Like, so I don't get it. And you mentioned Valkyrie. She didn't get enough screen time. I agree with that. I'm okay with them taking her out of the last battle because like they already went with all 3 of them to try to go fight him and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with them taking her out. And I kind of liked it just being Jane and Thor at the end. Like it made sense story-wise for me.
Thor and Thor.
Oh yeah, Thor and Thor. But I Mighty Thor and Thor, we should say.
Yes. Eat my hammer.
But Valkyrie, like, I think she's one of the best characters in the MCU going on right now. And she's either going to have a very, very heavy presence in other movies or an Avengers movie, or she's going to get her own movie. I think that's coming. Or they're probably going to do a new Asgard series. I'd rather see a movie. To me, I'm still Marvel movies over Marvel TV.
I agree.
Right now,
I agree.
sure.
I 100% agree. Question before we move on. And this is obviously spoilers. Everything is spoilers. Is this the last time we see Jane Foster?
No. And I said that coming out of the movie theater, and you said yes.
I think it is. I do, because I don't think Natalie Portman is going to be along for the long haul, personally. But there is a specific story. And I don't know if Jacob knows. Jacob, do you know of Jane Foster's story?
I mean, I know everything we saw in this movie.
So
that's all
in the comics, she is essentially resurrected to become another Valkyrie.
She's like the shepherd of death. Not shepherd.
But she has.
So you can come back from Valhalla?
I forget the name of the power, but she has a specific power that is like feared across the galaxy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think they're going to tell that personally.
Yeah, probably not.
But
they might.
The thing is,
because she came out saying that she had a freaking blast and is open to doing more.
Yeah, but that means she'd have to sign up for like 2 or 3 more movies.
Not the way that they're doing crap now.
You know what I loved is her trying to figure out her punchlines. Yes. I freaking loved that. It was
you could just tell that you could tell that Natalie Portman was having more fun with this movie, right? Like before, she was just
what she whispered in his ear.
And she said she'll never tell.
Yeah,
but like
Natalie Portman said she'll never tell.
Why would they show that to the audience if we're just never going to find out?
For this exact reason.
Yeah.
To make you talk about it for years and years and years after this movie's been out. And for her to literally come out days later.
They never reveal it, then there's no point in the first place.
No. It's probably
but it's for us to talk about it.
And he chuckles. So
like Taika's probably watching this right now being like, "Ha, you idiots."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Thor's going to use it in the future. Somehow.
Use what?
And we'll
know
the
punchline?
Yeah.
I think the little girl will. Which fun fact, that's Chris Hemsworth's real daughter.
Is it really?
Is it really? Oh, I didn't catch that.
You know
he
what's
posted
funny?
a picture on Instagram yesterday.
Someone
a behind the scenes film of them on
Hemsworth
studio.
family extravaganza.
So
his brother's in it, his sons are in it.
Not just that, but Taika did an interview where Taika's children, Natalie Portman's children, and Chris's children, and Christian, they're all in the movie.
That makes sense, right? Because they had like 20 kids in the movie.
And Chris Hemsworth's daughter is Gore's daughter. He posted a picture on his Instagram of them on set together on Thor when she was a little girl, and then him holding her in the ship at the very end before they go fight the aliens together.
So that girl is literally Chris Hemsworth's daughter?
Yeah.
John, I've been trying to figure out
Wow.
who she was because I knew the wife was in it, but I didn't realize she was the wolf lady that.
Elsa Pataki. Elsa Pataki. Yeah.
Wow.
I knew she was in it, but I thought she was just like a Asgardian in the back.
And his brother's the actor that acts with Matt Damon, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that scene was so the second scene with them when they were asking Valkyrie, like, should we do a play on this? Like when it happened, and they're like, she didn't say no. Like that.
I love that
was
Matt Damon and Melissa McCarthy are like, absolutely, we'll totally do this. We will absolutely do this.
And
Melissa McCarthy, that look, that's the only way she could ever be in the MCU is something like that. And I love that because I'm a big Melissa McCarthy fan. Been watching Spy a lot lately. So good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where should we go next?
One last thing. Jacob, did you hear also that all of the kids of anyone that had kids on the set that of the actors, they told them create the shadow monsters, and all the shadow monsters were made from the kids' drawings.
Oh, I mean it works for that because they're shadow monster. Because shadows make different shapes all the time, so that works. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Was that really Idris Elba's son? I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
I don't
think Idris. I don't know.
Does he?
I doubt it.
I don't know, but that.
What a shocker that Heimdall's been hooking up with a girl all this time, though, right?
I know. We had no idea that he has a kid.
When did he leave his post?
I was gonna say I thought he was just there the entire time.
Hey, but now they conveniently have another character who can do exactly what Heimdall did. So there we go.
Maybe he was hooking up when they were running from Hela on the side.
I mean, he never said he didn't have a wife or anything. So
I mean, Brian, the timeline would fit. The timeline would definitely fit.
I mean, I just thought he never left his post, and so I would assume it'd have to be during that time.
We'll probably never get to it, but Mjolnir breaking up and hitting people and coming back.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Well, so we can cover that quickly, but the relationship between Thor, Mjolnir, and Stormbreaker.
I loved it.
I love triangle.
The fact that they gave personalities to the hammers.
Anytime I was dying, anytime Stormbreaker would just do this.
Come out of the corner.
Okay, so you know how a lot of people have problems with the humor, right? You know, some of the humor doesn't work, but that works.
That's
for me.
good humor. That's
I
Yeah.
Loved. And look,
So
the
good.
thing, it's so this movie is basically, like Jake, you said it earlier, a romantic comedy. It is. And it's not just Jane and Thor. It's Jane, Thor, the hammers, both hammers. And then it's like, I don't know, Valkyrie's over here flirting with the other gods. Yeah, it's
Stormbreaker's first beer was great too. I like that. When he dumped the beer on it.
I don't understand how they missed the opportunity to like make the ship like swerve just a little bit and him be like,
or no, the Bifrost flicker. The Bifrost flicker was what they should have done. Yeah,
something.
100%.
Okay,
so
I loved the anytime it just looked at him, I was dying.
I have a question. Thor or Mjolnir or Stormbreaker, if you can have one.
Well, here's the thing that I did not catch at the end of the first movie, the first showing. He takes back Mjolnir and gives Love Stormbreaker.
You didn't notice? Well, because
notice that?
I think I was just more like
because Love can't wield Mjolnir.
Yeah. So,
all right, so it's easy choice because you could say Mjolnir, right? Because it'll give you the Thor powers, but just as weapons, like you don't get the Thor powers, you just get to use them as weapons as they are.
And to the question of if she can wield it, what this movie told us is that Chris Hemsworth, as the one who can wield it, Thor, can give that power to someone. So maybe he very well could have just said, "Hey, I'm," like he said to the kids at the very end, for a very short period of time. Like he didn't want him having it forever. He could have given her the power to lift it, which is a new wrinkle in all of this, because that's how Mighty Thor became Mighty Thor.
I do love how he asked Mjolnir to look after Jane, and it basically agreed to an oath. Like, yes, I'll always protect her.
Which totally makes sense. Makes sense.
He's got like that, like Odin force a little bit in him, where he can do.
Well, if Odin was able to do that stuff, why wouldn't he be able to? You know,
it's interesting. I mean, he clearly can.
So the Flash. All right. So a lot of people complain that in Thor 1 and Thor 2, like some people complain that Jane and Thor didn't work. Like they didn't have chemistry.
Their
The
chemistry
actors.
was effing phenomenal.
So in this movie, I think their chemistry is great, but I think that flashback of them as a couple is so important because it shows like how much they meant to each other.
Mhm.
And I loved that flashback of them.
Well,
like the montage of them rollerblading and all that stuff.
It's the
Loved it.
time between the Dark World and Age of Ultron. It's
Mhm, that
all
we
of
never
that
saw.
time. Because the last time when we saw Thor at the end of the Dark World, he moved to Earth and put his hammer on a shelf.
Yeah.
And then we pick back up with him in Age of Ultron, and he's fighting along the Avengers, and they're no longer together. It was essentially just wiped from memory. So now all those couple years, which I think it was only actually 2 years, now we get to see what actually happened between the two of them with the flashback. And you're right, Jacob. It adds, when we go back and watch the Dark World and then the Age of Ultron, it now adds more pieces to those movies. I don't know if it'll make them better, but it helps those stories. It definitely helps those stories.
Yeah, Nick Fury called.
What was Thor's roommate's name in those short movies?
Daryl. Yeah, he showed up. He's on New Asgard.
In the movie.
He's on New Asgard.
Yeah, I did
That
not.
is hilarious.
I caught him when they said it.
I didn't know till after the movie.
I saw it from a TikTok, and then when I went and resaw it, that he's like got 3 parts where
he has a major role in New Asgard.
Yeah, he's like her. He's just helping her.
And Meek in a suit. Hey, Meek is a. I heard. Didn't they say Meek is a woman?
Meek is a girl. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And in a suit like that. That was hilarious.
It was,
How about Valkyrie doing Old Spice commercials?
Yeah, because the Old Spice commercials are so weird. So like, it works. Yeah. So there's a lot to like about this movie, to be honest.
That's the big thing. So I said in my personal review that I felt like it was rushed. I felt like it was messy in a lot of parts.
It is.
But the biggest positive aspect of this film is that it has fun. It has a lot of fun. From the comedy, yes, of course, but it's also very much a adventure film, no matter how dark and daring it is, because they're going up against someone who could literally kill them with one swing of the sword. It's still very much a fun adventure film as these characters are kind of getting back into the fold with each other. There's serious moments, which I wish there were a little bit more of them, which is one of the big things I had a problem with. But it has a lot of fun with itself. It knows what it is. It doesn't try to hide it. You can tell that the actors are having an absolute blast doing it. And that is 100% the biggest thing coming out of the movie, is that I enjoyed it because it still did have a lot of fun. If it didn't, I probably would not have liked the movie as much as I did.
Yeah.
Andy, this is something I've been seeing so many people talk about. Was it weird having
Infinity cones?
Infinity cones. Here's my thing.
No, it's called branding. Okay.
No, here's my thing. Do we not have gift shops at the 9/11 memorial?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, they're going to capitalize something.
Well, you got to capitalize on the biggest thing in the planet. And what's the biggest thing other than someone wiping out half the universe?
Not to mention, I guarantee you,
New York alien attack is nothing compared to that, right?
Not to mention, I guarantee you, at some point, Disney's going to have that in their park.
Oh,
absolutely!
Sure. Yeah,
I guarantee
100%.
You know what?
I'm surprised someone doesn't have it now.
I didn't realize this. You know how like they have globetrotting movies where like in a globetrotting movie, people are going all over the world like quickly. This is a galaxy trotting movie.
Yeah,
where they're just jumping from different locations
with
and forth,
screaming goats
all the time. Yeah,
I love it.
Which
they have some good ass names. Have you seen their names?
They have names?
I saw the names, but I forgot them. I saw it on Twitter. They popped up.
It's Tooth Grinder and Tooth Gnasher.
Yeah.
Wow. Of course.
Yeah, and they're in the comics, by the way. They're shown like once for a second in the comic, but they're mentioned many of times about space goats. So that wasn't something that they completely just made up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to talk about two major things. Because we are coming up on, we got to get to the tier ranking here in a sec. But first thing, let's talk about the Guardians, because they weren't in the movie a lot. They were in the very beginning. This has been a conversation online about people debating whether or not they should have been in it at all, if they should have been in it longer, What are your guys' thoughts on the Guardians appearance in the movie?
Perfect amount of time, not a minute longer.
I agree.
I'm obsessed with the Eagle aliens.
Those were kind of cool, huh?
They're so funny looking. They remind me of just like these like Harley Davidson riding.
Do you remember the in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, those crow monsters? They kind of remind me of that a little bit. Yeah. The Tango Warriors, that's what they're called. Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't know that.
I mean, you wouldn't know that, but
I don't. A minute longer, and I would have probably been annoyed with them being there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also don't think you should have removed them, because last time we see Thor, he's with the Guardians. And if you just start the movie without them, everyone would have been like, what the hell? Where's the Guardians? So I liked it. And it set up where Thor was mentally and emotionally, what Thor's state of mind was, because it showed him and Star-Lord hanging out. They're having a good time. They're drinking. And then it shows Thor crying, bawling his eyes out to Star-Lord. And it's like, we still know that Thor's struggling with all the stuff that happened to him. So I thought it was necessary and just the perfect amount.
When they go to leave and you just hear his leather jacket go from him hunching over because he's sad.
And I still love, just look in the eyes of the people you love. And he's like looking at Star-Lord's eyes. I love that.
They really,
I don't care what anyone says.
They were almost just there to be there, just to finish them being together. They didn't really have any lines. Like Drax didn't say anything.
And they didn't even fight that much. Thor just took over and
yeah.
Honestly, as it should, like he's like the level 1000 player you call in when you can't beat a level.
They showed that he's more powerful than all of the Guardians combined. Like
100%.
Literally. But it's true, so it's cool. I'm cool with that.
He just walks in and does the splits,
Yeah.
Hey, but if Gamora was there, that she would have been whooping ass though if she was there.
Perfect amount of time. I just don't think a minute less, a minute more. It was perfect.
I agree. I those people online discussing whether or not they should have been included or that they should have been in it more. You have to realize that they have a movie coming out. Why make this a movie where they're involved when they have a movie coming out?
I just don't understand.
Lost a lot of weight.
Yeah,
I just for me, it would have been weird to end how it ended and then him just not be with them. So I think it was fine.
It wouldn't make sense.
Okay, so outside of that, real quick, Shane Ross. This is a great way of kind of bringing my feelings of how I feel about the movie. He says there are things I did like: Gore the God Butcher, the first fight in the Shadow Realm, and the Omnipotence City scene.
Is it called that in the comics? It must be because
Omnipotence.
And then things I didn't like, mainly the amount of humor. I'm 100% with Shane here. I'm 100% with Shane. I think that's exactly where I kind of line with the movie as well. Let's talk about that scene though of the gods. And how they
basically one thing I wanted to mention about
No, let's talk about the gods.
Okay.
Omnipotence City.
Omnipotence.
Whatever. I'm gonna say Olympus. Let's talk about Olympus.
No, you can't, because that's where the Eternals went to.
That's fine. That's fine. Whatever. Let's talk about a god orgy, because apparently Zeus is all about having orgies.
Russell Crowe was so freaking perfect as Zeus. So perfect.
Did you guys see that he was originally supposed to play Satan?
I did see that.
Really?
He was originally supposed to play Satan.
That would have been a lot. I think people. I'm glad they didn't, because then they would have just been like, "It's Mephisto."
Right. No, it also worked because now we know Zeus is an absolute dick.
Oh yeah, this Zeus, 100%.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But what do we think about it? Like the city in general, the way they kind of go about things, the fight there. I mean, how my theory came true. Just
Sir, you're gonna have to reel that one back a little bit, because that was a. That was a joint effort on that one.
Was it though?
I wasn't here to make theories, so
I don't know. Was it?
It was.
Okay, I want to say, all right, look, overall, I like the scene.
We both didn't see Zeus getting killed by Thor. That was
no. I didn't say it was 100%.
Anyone would have predicted that.
No,
that one.
That moment. Yeah,
he didn't though. So
Well, yeah, but when you just see the lightning bolt go through his chest, like you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, Thunderbolt, by the way.
Thunderbolt, sorry. Thunderbolt.
Hold on. All right. So here's one thing about that scene I have a major issue with. I'm not saying I wanted Korg to be dead, but don't tease me that Korg's gonna die.
Yeah, me
just
too.
for it to be a fake death.
I'm kind of with Jacob.
I mean, they did the same to Valkyrie.
No, I don't want either. I didn't like that either.
Did they though?
It's different though. But we don't.
She got stabbed for a solid hold. And
yeah, but there's a difference between being stabbed and sitting there and then completely crumbling as a rock creature.
Look, here's the thing. This movie is very light, honestly, other than Jane passing away at the end. But we kind of figured that was going to happen. And it was very it was a beautiful moment, right? Jane passing on. But if this movie would have stuck with Korg dying that way, it would have carried so much weight.
So honestly. I think this is a theory. I think originally he was going to die, but that was a leak a long time ago that Korg was going to die. And I have a feeling they did it and then changed it.
Yeah, that's possible.
That is one of the first leaks that I heard a long time ago that I forgot about. And so when it happened, I went, oh, crap. And then he came back and I was like...
and how much more would we hate Zeus if that would have stuck? But like I said, I don't want Korg to be dead. And everything that happened after that scene with Korg was amazing. Like, everything with Korg is amazing. I love how he tells stories. Like him and Michael Pena, man. Or him and Luis.
Who's
are the
better?
Best storytellers.
Who's better? Michael Pena or Korg?
I don't know. Michael Pena's done it twice. So
Michael Pena does
give it to Michael
a lot
Pena.
quicker.
But I want to see them tell a story together, campfire story. But I just think because look, I want to be, especially with the MCU where they have so many properties, I want to be wowed. I want to be shocked at least sometimes. And I was like, oh my God, they killed Korg. And 30 seconds later, he's not dead. Just don't do it in the first place. You could have had that whole scene play out, not have Korg get hit with the lightning bolt. Boom. Move on. But yeah, it was just.
I'm with Jacob. I think because I remember reacting to it thinking that he was dying, and my heart sunk.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And then
it went away right away.
It just turns out that he picked his head up, and now he can just rebuild himself. Essentially, I don't want Korg to be dead because I think he's such a great part of what Thor is now, but he's also a great partner for Thor. But if, like Jacob said, I think if you're going to do it, then do it. Don't pull punches. At this point in the MCU, I do think we kind of have to stop pulling punches on who dies and who doesn't. Because there has been the argument for the last decade of, well, we're killing people, but then we're bringing them back. We're killing people, then we're bringing them back. Loki did it multiple times. Nick Fury, there's been a lot of characters who have returned after death.
Loki dies again and again.
Yes. So I do think that at some point we are going to have to stop pulling punches, and we're actually going to have to raise the stakes a little bit. I'm not saying it had to be Korg, but I do agree that if you're going to do it. Don't, make someone look like they're physically disappearing essentially or dying, and then kind of just save them by grabbing their head,
I think Korg is going to be done after this because he's going to have his baby with Dwayne.
Oh, I mean, that is a good point at the ending. That is a good point with Dwayne.
That's a good point. And I'd rather have a happy
ending. I
did
not catch and died at the fact that his partner's named Dwayne, and he's essentially
Dwayne the Rock. Yeah, Dwayne the Rock.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
I was
really.
I was too entranced.
I didn't think of it
and I was too entranced with the fact that this Rock
had a
mustache like that.
Yeah.
I was.
Well, the fact that his name was Dwayne.
No, it didn't even put two and two together. My friends back home were the ones that I fully admit that they caught that.
That's
open.
funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I love Korg.
Okay, so one last thing let's talk about is this post-credit scene. We got to talk about this post-credit scene because we have to get the tier ranking, and I want to leave
Oh,
enough
by
time
the
for
way,
the tier ranking.
Sorry, really quickly. By the way, did you know that they mentioned one of the Egyptian gods from Moon Knight? And apparently Bast is in the background.
Bast is sitting below Valkyrie and Natalie Portman.
Oh, okay. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, she's sitting below them in that scene.
But Ra is an Egyptian god. He's low-key like the leader of all the Egyptian gods. So
he's a big-time god.
So, yeah. If
which totally makes sense. That totally makes sense.
And
What's
we're
up
not
with
going to
the
go
dumpling god. Like there's a dumpling
Bao.
god.
Stop it. That was fun.
Wait, is that the? It's like Bao from the short.
The Pixar short.
Is that what it's from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's interesting.
But
okay, let's talk about this post-credit scene.
Really quick. I know, I'm sorry. If you do Screen Rant lists every single god that's in there. So if you guys want to look
good.
at that,
Good to
it's
know.
a good
Yeah.
article.
Because it was a little overwhelming, to be honest. Like,
It
what's
was.
going on? Like, who are all these gods? Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the post-credit scene. We have Hercules. Hercules is officially coming to the MCU. If you don't read the comics, just a little kind of breakdown. Obviously, Hercules is a hero. He does fight for the good, but there are many, many times in the comics where he does do battle with one Thor, Odin's son. They go hammer to hand, or what does Hercules use? He's
like it's baton. He uses a lot of things.
But in that scene.
his main weapon is sword. Sorry, he uses a sword. Sorry,
a sword, but like it's like it looks like almost like a.
But wasn't he holding like a mallet or something?
Yeah,
or
it's like a sword. It's like a club.
But I'm sure he has a sword.
Yeah, so but what essentially is what we're going to see is it is setting up.
Right?
We're setting up Thor versus Hercules, whether it's in Thor 5 or something else in the future. It seems like because of what Thor did to Zeus and the other gods, of how he battled them, killed a lot, threw a thunderbolt through his body. He's going to be sending his son Hercules after Thor, which is something we've talked many, many, many times about on this specific channel, about how it could happen and how it sets it up. Brett Goldstein from One Ted Lasso is officially an MCU hero. Roy Kent himself has joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that scene was awesome. He looked gigantic. He looked menacing. I can't wait to see him join these characters because he plays a huge part in certain Avengers stories. He has a lot of good relationships with characters outside of just Thor.
Hulk.
So it's super, super exciting that the gods aren't just going to play a role in this movie, but they're going to be a big part of stuff going forward. Because if Hercules is in fact put as, a forefront character, we'll be seeing a lot of god mythology on that side of the god mythology coming in the future of the MCU, which is really, really cool. Brian, you take it away because I know you're very, very excited for this as well.
Oh, I lost my stuff. This is like the last two movies getting characters that I wanted, and by actors and actresses, far surpassing who I wanted. Kalia in Doctor Strange, I jumped up literally out of my chair. And then this one, to which feel free to check out past Apocaflix shows that Jake and I absolutely just crush this from like the get-go. It's perfect. I know a lot of people are...
Brian, speaking of the theory that we've been talking about for about 2 months now, that we said... So what we had said is that Gore would kill the gods and Thor would be blackmailed and Hercules will come after him. But essentially what's happening is now Thor is being framed for being a bad guy when he's not. Mm-hmm. And they're going to send Hercules after him.
Well, not to mention that me seeing that thing that said that someone from Ted Lasso is coming and us literally putting 2 and 2 together. But this casting is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. For those of you that are freaking out that Henry Cavill is not it, the dude is not going to do a freaking another superhero movie until he knows for sure Superman is not
Well, and he's gonna play Captain Britain, so he wouldn't play Hercules.
I'm so tired of like the people. Why is it, this would have been perfect for Henry Cavill? Until Superman is dead and gone and that role is done, he's staying as Superman. Like that, he's not doing another character. That literally might be his only character from now until forever.
As far as like a superhero main
Yes, being his
franchise,
thing. He's perfect as Superman. He's the best Superman. He's going to be Superman probably in the future. So there is no point to put him in as Hercules and then potentially do another Superman. So you got to find someone else. This casting is perfect. Perfection to the T. Just like Clea was perfect to the T. The one thing Marvel does absolutely flawlessly is their casting, and it continues through this.
And it's a great combination of well-known stars and like up-and-comers who need opportunities. And like, so when the scene came on, I didn't know who Brett Goldstein was. I turned to Sean Wingblade. I was like, "Who's the actor?" And then he told me, "Got dude from Ted Lasso." I was like, "Okay."
I'm so glad you start watching it.
Just the fact that the character was there was why I was excited, because I've been wanting Hercules in the MCU some way, somehow. I didn't know they were gonna do it this way, but I love the way they did it. So then we come out of the movie and I'm talking to you guys. I was like, "Oh, like who's this guy? Like Brett Goldstein." You're like, "He's from Ted Lasso. You got to watch Ted Lasso." And I'm like, "Okay." Like Gio and I actually went and watched Ted Lasso, the first episode that night. But like I finished season 1 of Ted Lasso and kind of doing the reverse of like seeing the Thor scene and then watching Ted Lasso. Absolutely perfect casting. He's incredible in that show, and he's
here.
Like,
he's there.
Yeah, it's great. And
I may or may not a week ago bought a Roy Kent jersey because he's just back.
Yeah. So I just I love that. And he's so, it's such a perfect role because he's so angry in the show. And it's like, I think they're going to make this and you can even tell by his facial expression and his like body language as Hercules, he's going to tear some stuff up. Like he's going to be badass. So,
he's a cocky MFer is what he is.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
Andy says here, as soon as we saw Zeus in the first trailer, I thought it was obvious that we were leading to this. I think so, but maybe not in this specific movie. I think is what people are kind of freaking out about, is that we weren't sure if we would actually see him. So I think that's where a lot of people are coming from. Okay, just quick thoughts on some other things that we got rapid fire before we get to the tier ranking, guys. The final battle. I thought the final battle was great. I thought the stuff in the Shadow Realm where it went from color to black and white blew my mind.
Oh my god, this is
I was ecstatic to see the color fade from everything. I love the fighting on the moon or that planet, whatever it may have been, how they were just kind of running around everywhere and everything. But I thought it was all great. I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts with the kids or that fight specifically before we move on.
I wasn't a huge fan of the kids fighting.
Me neither. I could have done without that.
Me
to
too.
be honest.
Because my immediate brain went, he's putting the kids in danger. Like I get it.
Even though he gave them the powers, but still,
I know
what you
get
mean,
it.
yeah.
And it's like a stupid nitpick, but like I was just kind of like I would have much rather them just like teleport back and I get it, the shadow monsters were coming out and so someone had to fight them, but just like I don't know, the kids fighting was a little much for me. Andy, that's a good point. I get it. The concept of sharing his powers with the kids.
I kind of rolled my eyes, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I honestly liked the Shadow Realm fight better.
So for me, I said earlier, like the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie are the best part. And to me, that starts when Mighty Thor shows up at the end. Like she leaves her hospital bed, shows up, and the kids leave. So from that moment on, that ending was absolutely beautiful. So I thought they ended strong. The choice of having Gore bring back his daughter instead of kill all the gods, and her being the representation of love, and then Thor becoming a father, all that stuff was absolutely brilliant. And they even set it up. They foreshadowed it earlier with Korg. He said, I think Thor would be a great dad. So I thought it ended very, very strong, like super strong. So
my nerves is looking forward to him having the daughter attached to him.
Well, he has nothing now. Like, I mean, he has New Asgard and Valkyrie and Korg. Like, he has friends and he has a home, but he doesn't really he lost almost everything.
After the second viewing, I think that the daughter is going to have some play moving on, because when she's walking towards Thor after her dad's died and they're about to like leave that scene, the shadow in the water is eternity while the kid is walking towards, almost like if the kid is eternity. So I'm like, have my eye on that, because if you know comics, eternity is like one of the biggest, not gods, but like biggest figures in the comics.
So she has laser eyes too, I guess. Like,
well, I mean, as John Boo says, she's basically part of eternity.
Yeah,
everyone has laser eyes. Did she have laser eyes before? Or did something happen from her coming back?
She got him.
Yeah, eternity is a big freaking deal. Like, that utterly shocked me when I saw the statue. Just seeing the statue, yet alone like it was actually a physical part in the movie, and then like may or may not be like what's in the child. The son, I don't know. I was shocked that they used that, but yeah.
All right, gentlemen, are we ready to get to this tier ranking?
Yeah.
And you guys want any final wrap-up thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder before we get to this actual ranking? Any just like couple sentences very quickly, because we are running out of time.
I mean, Jane going to Valhalla is absolutely beautiful.
Me too. I agree.
Perfect cherry on top of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I would like to see what you guys think seeing it a second time.
I'm hoping to get there. It might be a little while, but I'm hoping to get there.
I'm gonna try soon.
I would love to see it a second time. All right.
Overall, I'm positive on the
one
movie.
last thing.
Positive.
Which did you prefer more, this or Multiverse of Madness?
Why do you have to ask that question?
Sorry.
I feel very similar about them, to be honest. Both were disappointing. They weren't as good as I thought they were going to be, but both were pretty good. Both were rushed, too short. Yeah, they're like neck and neck. Like, if I do my MCU ranking, they're probably going to be right next to each other, to be honest. I'm going to lord Multiverse.
I'm Thor on this one.
I think at the moment, I'll say Multiverse, but I've only seen both of them once.
That's fair.
So yeah. I have to watch them at least. I have to watch them twice to really get a feeling. All right, let's get to it, gentlemen. Tier ranking. Here we go. You all know how this works. Easy peasy. We're going to go one by one with these 8 films and rank them in order, however we see fit. And we're going to do chronological style. So let's start with the very first Thor, gentlemen. What do we think the very first Thor is? And we also don't need to have one in every single category. Keep that in mind. There are only 8, so we can even them out or break them down however we'd like. Where do we see the very first Thor?
I honestly, I'm going between A and B, but I'll go with B.
And
I think it's a B movie.
And I was going between B and C.
I think it's a great B movie. Personally.
Okay, well there we go. We have an A and B, a B and C, and a B. So B it is.
Right. Average would be B.
Thor, or no, excuse me. The next movie would actually be The Avengers.
S.
God, it's been so long since I've seen.
I think it's S tier as well, personally. That movie was
yeah, but are you going off?
People forget about it.
Or are you going off the whole movie that he's in?
It's the whole movie. It's the movie in general.
Yeah, we're just ranking the movie.
Oh well, if it's ranking the movie, then S.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we've always done.
I thought we were doing like the Thor.
No. It's the movies that he's in. This is the exact way we did Black Widow too.
Yeah.
Gio, I love you, Gio, but I'm glad you're not here because he would have fought us on that.
Yes. The next one would be Thor: The Dark World.
D.
I mean, I'm fine.
Maybe C.
Jacob, I'm
You're
fine with
C.
it being a D also.
Well, because look, for me, Loki makes it a C. Loki is the best part of that movie.
I 100% agree with you, Jacob.
So
Loki steals that movie from Thor.
I mean, it's on my lowest of low. It's one of like my bottom 3 or 4 MCU movies, but I don't think any MCU movie is a D movie personally.
I don't know.
So C?
Yeah, I see. Because I think of that Loki scene where they show what he really looks like after his mother dies.
Can I say one thing? After rereading the comics, it actually makes me upset.
Oh, wow.
Rereading the comics and where this could have gone, it kind of makes me upset that movie was so.
Well, the Dark Elves are like way better in the comics, right?
Yeah, because Malekith is a huge part of Gore's story.
And the actor was a good actor too.
So it kind of bummed me out rereading it and being like, damn, like the Dark Elves could have probably maybe even been in this a little bit and it would have been awesome.
All right, the next one would be
Age of Ultron, right?
Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay, I'll just warn you guys. I'm super high on this movie, so we might have some debates about this.
I think it's B behind Thor.
I agree.
That's what I would.
No, maybe not. Okay, cool. There we go.
I actually don't think it's as bad as everyone gives it, but it's because it follows the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like this movie and Guardians 2, where like Joss Whedon kind of got to go full Joss Whedon in this movie, which like he needs to take it down like once.
I will say it's unfortunately it's the fourth of the 4 Avengers movie, obviously.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing. Like that's not a knock on the movie at all.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, next one would be Thor Ragnarok. S.
100% S.
Below or above?
I mean,
above.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
I'm above.
Yeah.
Okay, Avengers: Infinity War.
Shit.
The one
S.
I would. I don't know.
And above Ragnarok. This
is S 100%.
Yeah, I'm just debating: is it above or below Ragnarok?
It's my favorite MCU movie. So
look at Andy. S.
Like if you guys, because I love Ragnarok and Infinity War, so
I love the next 3 movies we're talking about, including Ragnarok. I absolutely adore, love through and through.
Oh, other than Love and Thunder, right?
Yes.
I just don't know if I.
Wait, they don't have Love and Thunder on here, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, we have it on here.
It's the last one.
Oh, okay. I personally, I have it number 1, like above Ragnarok.
So so yours is above Ragnarok, Jacob.
Yeah.
Let me see where it's on my ranking list. Actually, hold on. Let me see. I have an MCU ranking on my letterbox. So let me see.
I tried to do that, but I fought myself.
Oh, it's difficult and it changes on a regular basis.
I have one.
Okay, so according to this, I have Infinity War above Ragnarok.
Earth is closed today. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, I guess it could be above Ragnarok.
All right, Avengers Endgame. This for me is the best movie on this list, personally. But I obviously have to step back if both Brian and Jacob disagree. So
I mean, for me, I would put it. I would put it behind Ragnarok, honestly. But that's just mine. So that's where I'm at. Where are you guys at?
I'm top tier. I'm number 1.
Yeah, you're number 1.
Yeah, S is an absolute. To be honest, I would be fine moving Avengers to A.
I'm thinking about moving Avengers to A too, personally.
Yeah, I'm okay with that actually, because Yeah,
Okay,
I keep
let's do
saying
that.
this. Like the
Let's do that.
comic book genre, it evolves and it becomes better. So I'm okay with that. Look, all right. Here's my argument. Endgame is like, to me, it's very long, and it's like there's parts of the movie where I would rewind that. Excuse me, that I would fast forward. To be honest, I would never say that about Infinity War or Ragnarok.
Wow. I mean, but you have Bro Thor, Jacob. Like, come on.
Okay, so
Which is I'm not big on that, to be honest.
Andy, this is my thing. His arc in Infinity War, he's arguably like the second lead in Infinity War. In Endgame, he's
well, he basically has a 3-movie arc from Ragnarok to Endgame. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
I don't.
Come on, Brian. You're the deciding factor here.
No.
You are. You have to make a decision right now.
I just don't know if it's above or below Infinity War.
Well, you got to make a decision.
I just think about the end of the movie.
Brian, is it
not the
Endgame
movie,
or Infinity
though.
War?
But that's my problem, Jacob. Is it's when I think of Thor in Avengers Endgame, I think of the end of the movie, and that's about it. Infinity War, he is a huge part of that movie. So
Wakanda. Remember when he shows up in Wakanda?
I think
Rue, just to answer your question, we're just ranking the movies overall that Thor is involved in. So it's just ranking the movies, not the arc or anything like that, or Thor's roles. It's just the movies that he's actually in. So come on, Brian, you got to make a decision.
I literally don't know. This has been my biggest argument in my head for the last X amount of years of which is better, Infinity War or Endgame, and I've never been able to decide.
Well, here's your decision right now. Let's go.
Okay,
You're on
look
camera,
at this.
live.
Thanos is the villain in both movies, right? Thanos' story is way better in Infinity War. We get like the old Thanos, like the
That's your opinion, you know.
young Thanos, and
That's your opinion, though, Jacob. You know, don't make his opinion for him.
I'm just stating arguments.
See, we get to argue. I love you having you back, my man.
All right.
This is tough. All right, so I have it behind Ragnarok. Jake has it number 1. So, what if Brian decides? Like,
Well,
what does Brian have to decide?
If he has it number 1, if he has it at number 1, two
Then
number
it's
one
number 1.
trump everything.
Yeah, true. I agree with that.
So it just depends on.
Oh, I have it number 3. You have it number 1.
So come on, Brian.
So only because this is more based on Thor, I would put it behind Infinity War.
Okay, but that's not what we're doing.
What? You're asking me where I would put it.
We're not basing it on just Thor. We're basing the movie. It's the movie.
Yeah, but this is based
You're
around
gonna tell
Thor.
me that you're gonna tell me you're picking Infinity War over Endgame.
But here's the thing. We are only judging off of Thor movies. So
Then this whole list is gonna change if that's what we're doing. We haven't been doing that this whole time.
no, because everything that we would go, everything that's where it is right now is exactly how I would probably put those in general.
But Jacob asked at the beginning, are we ranking the movies or are we ranking Thor in these movies? We're not ranking Thor in these movies. We're ranking the movies.
I don't.
That's what we're ranking.
I don't want any part of.
See?
I don't
No,
want
so,
any
I mean,
part of
Brian,
Infinity War versus.
Where do you generally sit with that? Like, I'm sure it's a conversation we all have. Infinity War or Endgame. Like,
I don't know. This is literally.
yeah. So this is literally. It's not just now that you can't decide. You always can't decide.
I've never been able to decide. This is literally my Sophie's choice. Which child do I love more?
Yeah, I mean, Infinity War is just more like just every second of that movie hits, other than Hulk.
Come on, Brian. You got to make a decision.
I don't let the chat decide. I don't want any part of this.
You got to make a decision.
If my internet would poop out right now, I'd really appreciate it.
Brian, come on. It can change tomorrow. Mine probably going to change tomorrow. Like, who cares?
The way that Endgame just plays out is just
so Endgame. Is that your answer? Come on, man. Brian, we really don't have that much time.
I tend to lean towards Endgame.
Okay. So, Jacob, as far as it'd be 1, 1, 3, are you okay putting it at 1, or you think 2 is viable?
I mean, no, 2 number ones. It's got to be number 1.
All right, and the last one is Thor: Love and Thunder. I think this is an A behind Avengers because I think it's better than Thor personally.
I put an A above Avengers. I don't think Avengers aged that well.
What?
Oh, dude, you're insane.
I know.
Honestly,
you just said a little while ago you don't know the last time you saw this movie.
Yeah, for that
How
reason.
can you say that? How can you say that if
for
you
that
haven't seen it?
reason? Like it's
man, I need to find a way to like put respect back on Avengers because
Hey,
people
I have
just
respect for it.
No, I'm not talking about you, Jake, but people just forget about that movie. They're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's pointless. It literally defined the MCU. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But
I mean, if you want to put it behind
goodness.
Avengers, I'm fine with that.
I honestly think this is a B movie.
Okay, how about this then? Now that I've kind of been looking at it, thinking about it, I think I would rewatch Age of Ultron over Thor right now.
But is it a better movie though?
I don't know, but I think I would choose Age of Ultron over Thor. And if you think Love and Thunder is a B movie, Jake, Brian, where are you at with Love and Thunder? Oh, you said you put it above Avengers.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wouldn't put it above Avengers. Jacob wouldn't put it above Avengers.
I mean, you can put it above Avengers. That's fine. I don't care.
All right, if I was doing this by myself,
but see, here's my thing.
I would put Thor: Love and Thunder behind Age of Ultron, to be honest. If I was doing it by myself.
I mean, I see because I do think like if I gave a number grade to Love and Thunder, which we don't do ratings, if I gave a number grade, I would give it a 7 out of 10. That's what I would give it.
Yeah.
And that's technically a C, which in this ranking would be the B tier. So it just depends on where. But Brian really enjoyed it. And I don't know, Brian, if you think it's an A movie or not. I don't know.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole thing is it's the most recent, so it's to me like I tend to always like the most recent thing.
Biased right now, which is
so. I will say this: I will always like it better than original Thor. I have some major problems with original Thor, mainly that there's really no villain in that movie.
The villain's Loki, but that's okay.
Barely. Then they try to pass it off as the Destroyer, and the Destroyer is like in the comics this most feared thing. And
I think the original Thor is so underrated, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so how do we feel about this list, gentlemen?
I mean, I have Love and Thunder
does not like where Thor
behind Age of Ultron. So how did it end up over there?
Wait, Jake, like where are you putting?
You didn't say where you are on it.
Jake. Love and Thunder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it's a B movie. I think it's a B movie.
Well, then why if I
because then we have to so
I have a B minus. You have a solid.
And we have to figure out where Thor and Age of Ultron are then, or do we leave them? I have Thor: Love and Thunder. I have Love and Thunder right now. Right now, I have Love and Thunder over Thor. I have to rewatch them both at some point, but my ranking would be Ragnarok, Love and Thunder, Thor, The Dark World. That's my ranking. So as far as this list goes, it's in order of how the Thor movies are for me. My question is, where do we put Age of Ultron at the moment?
Well, I'm okay. Like if Thor: Love and Thunder is not gonna go behind, it's not gonna go behind Thor or Avengers: Age of Ultron. I'm okay just leaving it just like this because I don't think we have to move Age of Ultron down to a C just because we put Love and Thunder at a B.
I was gonna say we could move Age of Ultron up.
Yeah. I mean,
we could also leave it here. There could just be one A movie and 3 B movies. Like that's totally fine too.
I mean, we have one C movie and no D movies.
Brian, how do you feel about this?
I would be fine with moving Avengers above Thor. Like I said, I have some major problems with the original Thor. It's a good
Jacob, how do you Jacob, do you like Age of Ultron more than Thor?
Actually, yeah, I do. Actually, I don't know.
Okay,
how
so
we
2-1. So 2-1. Then we would
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
How does that look?
I mean, you're not. You have to look at it this way. You're not going to move Love and Thunder into the A, correct?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So your S is locked, your A is locked. Is Avengers Age of Ultron better than Thor? Love and Thunder? I say no. Jacob
say
says
no.
yes.
I say no.
Okay, so then we leave it.
Yeah,
I
so
think this is it. Honestly,
Okay. I'm cool with this. It's odd looking, but I'm cool with this.
yeah. I mean, hey, it's 3-1, 3-1.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, Brian, are you comfortable with this list?
Yeah, I'm just the Endgame and Infinity War is going to haunt me for my life.
Yeah,
That is literally like if I was dying, someone said like one of these is the cure, I would rather just die.
I mean, that's an internal debate among yourselves. Yeah.
Like
All right, well, there it is. It's officially locked in, everybody. Our Thor, our Chris Hemsworth MCU movie ranking. So in the C tier, we have Thor: The Dark World. In the B tier, we have Thor, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and Thor: Love and Thunder. In the A tier, we have the Avengers, and in the S tier, we have Thor: Ragnarok, Avengers: Infinity War, and Avengers: Endgame. And it's not done. We'll be adding to this list at some point because Thor will return, according to that last moment.
Did you see that Taika?
I didn't know.
What?
Yeah, he didn't know.
Jacob, neither of them knew he had another like returning thing. So like the Thor will return. Both of them, when they saw the initial premiere, were like looked at each other and went, "What?"
Yeah. Hey, it's not their decision.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, there it is. Our official ranking of the Chris Hemsworth MCU movies, as well as our Thor: Love and Thunder spoiler discussion. We had a blast. It was a long show that covered everything that was Thor: Odin's Son. If you join us a little bit later, check it out. We started out pretty early with Thor. We did a little bit of movie watch challenge up top, and then we finished here with the ranking, which is always a fun time. It's always a great time. Jacob, absolutely fantastic to have you back, my man. So good to see your face here again, and you know, argue and talk and all that stuff. Oh, excuse me, we had one last Streamlabs come through. Excuse me, I'll get to that right now. Let me go and pull it up. Farrell comes in here. Thank you so much, Farrell, with the Streamlabs. He said, like the mustache, Dwayne is great. Bao Dumpling Lord is epic. Korg Deity is scissors. Ted Lasso fan yelled Hercules with Emmy nominations today. Nice timing. The Necro Sword on Dane Whitman is more dangerous.
Different sword.
Yeah, different sword that Black Knight has. It's not the Necro Sword. And then finally, Bast will return. Huh?
Would you call him Black what?
Black Knight?
Oh, I heard something completely different. Go ahead.
Yeah, Black Knight. What did you think I said?
No, I'm not going to even say it.
What the hell? And then finally, Bast will return. Yeah, Bast was a little comparison there, or excuse me, cameo, not comparison, cameo.
Amaru, no, they're completely different swords. Ebony Blade and the Necro Sword are completely different.
Which the Ebony Blade is so the Necro Sword is the Shadow Realm essentially, and the Ebony Blade is the Dark Dimension. It's very similar, obviously. But
what about Hela's sword?
Low-key, those were kind of like Necro Swords.
Yeah, in a way they were, yeah. Which her power, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes from a similar...
Jacob, go look up what the Necro Sword looks like, and it's pretty much what Hela's dagger things look like.
Very, very cool.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people thought that they were both the Necro Sword, but they're not. Hers isn't. No.
Which both those swords, Ebony Blade and Necro Sword, do kind of kill the user, so yeah, they're kind of similar.
Interesting.
They're definitely similar. They're definitely similar.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Like I said, that's gonna wrap up the show. Let's go ahead and do some quick plugs before we get out of here. Brian, why don't you start us off? Where can everyone find you online?
BFAlacino on Twitter and Instagram. It's funny, I feel so stupid plugging that because no one knows how to spell my last name. So
Make a better handle.
Good luck finding me. But you've all seen it on Twitter and Instagram. And then A Certain Point of View with Jake. Tomorrow is our season finale of the Marvel Rewind because Miss Marvel ends tomorrow. Jacob, have you watched every episode?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, if you want to pop on, maybe tomorrow. Are we planning for 4 o'clock, Jake?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We'll do our wrap up, if you will, of the last episode. So yeah.
And Mr. Jacob Bartley, where can everybody find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at JacobBartley824. I'm going to try to be more active on there, post my thoughts on movies
Hopefully.
and TV shows. So
I feel like you've been saying that for like 6 years, but
I know. I should just like literally every thought, just tweet it.
Yeah,
Every thought.
exactly.
Do it. That's what I do.
No, but definitely I'm going to start posting more about movies and TV. So check me out there.
Cool. Qui-Gon Jake, 2 N's, because someone else took it before I did on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, everybody. It's my bachelor party this weekend. Brian will be with us in Tahoe. Yeah, Brian will be with me. We'll be golfing. We'll be hanging out, cornhole, all kinds of crazy things. You might see Brian swing a golf club. I don't know.
Jake only invited me to laugh at me to playing golf. So
that's not true at all. That's not.
That's all he's been talking about.
That's not true at all. Yeah, and then A Certain Point of View, Marvel Rewind, The Whiskey Jedi. I don't know if I'll get an episode out this week, but I have an episode coming out soon, maybe next week with someone who's actually on today. We're going to try to unbox the same exact Sideshow figure, everybody.
Yeah.
Mr. Jacob Bartley will be joining me. He has the same exact one that he has not unboxed just yet.
Mine's
because
sitting right there. Yeah.
He will be joining
Jacob's
me.
got like 5 of them, according to what I heard.
3 unboxed ones.
So hopefully I'll get that out next week. We'll hang out and do that kind of stuff. But yeah, guys, thank you as always. We had a lot of viewers tonight, 15, 16, 17. You guys rock. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching and commenting along with all your thoughts. We hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, Marvel Rewind tomorrow, then next week for the show. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.